Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar hosted by the Institute Sultan Iskandar ISI University Technology Malaysia. Thank you for taking your time out and being here today. My name is Nur Isma binti Hashim, Business Research Executive in Institute Sultan Iskandar University Technology Malaysia, and I will be your MC for today. I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Sai Ahmad Iskandar bin Sai Arifin, Executive Director of Institute Sultan Iskandar, Associate Professor Dr. Khairul Anwar bin Kaize, our moderator for today's webinar, our speakers, Technologist Muhammad Khairi bin Sulaiman, BIM Expert in Jabatan Kerja Malaysia, Technologist Muhammad Rizal bin Muhammad Rosli, Chief Operating Officer in BIM Asia Sdn Berhad, Associate Professor Surveyor Dr. Karen Nita binti Ali, Head of Building Information Modeling Center for Digital Innovations and Solutions, Faculty of Built Environment and Surveying, University Technology Malaysia, and all the participants to the ISI webinar series on Building Information Modeling. Today's webinar title is Successful BIM Implementation in Malaysia, Challenges, Opportunities, and Advice to Practitioners, Developers, and Consultants. Building information modeling is the linking of people, technology, and processes to improve outcomes in building and construction. It is the latest evolution of the building industry. It refers to designing, building, and operating a building collaboratively using a single coherent system of 3D models rather than separate design drawings. It contains not only the model elements, but also the vast amount of information that make up the project and the process of exchanging the information with other parties involved. The webinar will present the background of this latest evolution in context with Malaysian construction industry, elaborate on the importance of its implementation process, and unfold the implementation strategy by the Malaysian experts. Today is Saturday, 14 August 2021. The webinar will run from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Before we begin, let's review today's agenda. We will begin with an opening remark by our Executive Director of Institute Sultan Iskandar, Professor Dr. Sai Ahmad Iskandar bin Sai Arifin. After that, we will be watching a 3-minute video on what is BIM used for, produced by Autodesk. The video shows some examples of the application of BIM to different projects around the world. Following the video presentation, we will have a photography session. Then we will start our talk session with our BIM experts led by our invited moderator. After the talk session, there will be a Q&A session. Now, for the opening remark, I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Sai Ahmad Iskandar bin Sai Arifin. He is Executive Director of Institute Sultan Iskandar ISI University Technology Malaysia UTM. Before that, he was the Deputy Director of ISI and was the Head of Department for the Department of Architecture, Faculty of Built Environment UTM. He was the founder of the Center for the Study of Built Environment in the Malay World, passionately known by its acronym KALAM, at UTM Johor Bahru, as his research interests are architecture conservation, vernacular architecture, and Islamic architecture. As a senior member of the Council of Architectural Accreditation and Education Malaysia, he has led many initiatives in architectural education in Malaysia, most significantly serving as Chief Editor of the Manual of Accreditation for Architecture Program 2013 and Board of Architect Policy and Procedures for the Validation of Overseas Program in Architecture 2015. He is also an active committee member for the National Architectural Identity Policy under the wings of the Board of Architects Malaysia LAM. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Sai Ahmad Iskandar bin Sai Arifin for his opening remark. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning. Alhamdulillah, praises be only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful and most compassionate. It is by His mercy, His blessing, that this event we hope and pray to proceed with success. Welcome to ISI Webinar Series 2021, to our guest speakers, the moderator, and all participants. Respected ladies and gentlemen, talented and enthusiastic participants, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to ISI Webinar Series 2021, entitled Successful BEAM Implementation in Malaysia, Challenges, Opportunity, and Advice to Practitioners, Developers, and Consultants. Institute Sultan Iskandar, in short ISI, is an independent non-profit making research and development company wholly owned by University Technology Malaysia, focusing on the planning and the development of sustainable research. Our vision is to stewarding excellent in innovative sustainable built environment. We conduct research and manage project consulting in built environment and sustainability and its related discipline, and share knowledge through courses, training, seminars, and workshops. One of our focus in training and courses, one of the many focuses in training and courses is on Autodesk products, for the fact that we are one of the leading certified Autodesk training centers in the country. We manage Autodesk training, courses, and certification program for AutoCAD, Revit, Civil, 3D, Navisworks, Manage, and many more. Architects, engineers, structural engineers, and other construction professionals are the primary users of the software to design, draft, and model buildings or related structures. The software can optimize and improve designs, save time and money, and communicate in a plan, thus allowing for collaboration in creating and managing information in building information modeling. Building information modeling, briefly referred to as BIM or BEAM, is a process for creating and managing information on a construction project life cycle. The advantage of BEAM is that it is applicable to any project size and most impactful when working with large construction projects, where you will be able to benefit heavily from clash detections, cost tracking, and scheduling. The ability to share this relevant data with all the project's participants makes BEAM an excellent collaboration tool. With that, ISI strongly feels that we need to play an important role in highlighting the importance of BEAM in the construction industry. As the past president of Union of International Architects, UIA, Tan Sri Esa bin Muhammad, Tan Sri Architect Esa bin Muhammad informed us in the Hala 7 Pendidikan Seni Bina Negara webinar series held early this year. This is what he said: those who do not embrace the use of BEAM will be in danger of being obsolete. There you are. That is how important BEAM is. This webinar is part of our commitment to disseminate the knowledge and awareness which aspires to ensure the sustainability of our disciplines and the industry. We hope our efforts and aspiration is conveyed through this webinar and will benefit you and the rest in the fraternity. I would like to record my appreciation to the moderator, the three highly experienced and qualified speakers, and to you, the participants, and not to forget the support team who have worked hard to make this webinar a successful event. I wish everyone the very best in this webinar and hope for a better future towards supporting building information modeling sustainability within the construction industry. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Syed Ahmad Iskandar, for your opening speech. Now, let us watch a short video on what is BIM used for by Autodesk to give you an overview of the implementation of BIM in construction projects around the world.
Your work changes the map. To achieve success, you need an integrated set of tools that lets you coordinate work across teams, from design to construction. With the AEC collection, every designer, engineer, and contractor has access to multidisciplinary workflows that let them create with ease. Explore what's possible and build with confidence. To deliver high-performing buildings and infrastructure that transform lives and communities.
We want to create the best project, the best experience for people. BIM certainly helps to create a better project. The Optus Stadium project was 149 Revit files, 21 gigabyte of data. Using BIM on a project of that scale helps tremendously.
Eco 360 is a very small project, but it contains more than 50 elements that makes this house very unique. Working with him and doing simulations and the optimization made me sure that we are on the right direction right from the start.
The name of the project is New School of Engineering, which is part of Brown University. BIM allows us to share data seamlessly and allows our trade partners and our design engineers to work together, make changes and coordinate all in the one environment.
Baptist MD Anderson is an exciting project. It's a complex 9-story cancer treatment facility.
Building information modeling is key to this project.
It's the complete workflow from the very beginning of a project through prefabrication, all the way through to the information delivering to the job site.
When you see this building, the design and all the elements, they were very specifically chosen, and it's a project that is intended to be a beacon of hope.
We have a 100% success rate on all of our units that we're delivering to the job site. And the only way that we're able to have that success rate is by having the information delivered by Autodesk and BIM.
Wisdom 101 is one of the key projects. Hopefully this project will help Thai construction to move from 2D to 3D. Use of BIM reduce a lot of change order, reduce a lot of waste material, and also cost and time has been reduced. We're able to cut off 2 years of construction by 6 months. We can build one building within 1.5 years.
East Access is interesting because of its size. It's a new train station underneath Grand Central Station. Its tunnels leading all the way to Queens, connecting to Long Island City. It was designed with 2D, very traditional tools. We have converted it into the 21st century. We're finding it would be beneficial to digitize the whole city. I don't think it's a question of if you should use BIM or even what value does it bring. To me, that's not even a question anymore. Why are we not using it on all projects?
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the short video presentation. Moving along, it is now my pleasure to introduce you to Associate Professor Dr. Khairul Anwar bin Muhammad Khaizir, moderator for today's webinar. He is an Associate Professor at the Department of Architecture, University Technology Malaysia, UTM in Skudai, Johor. Currently a member of the academia at the Faculty of Built Environment and Surveying, teaching Master Studio and allied courses for the Department of Architecture, UTM, and the head of the Design Process, Practice and Management Research Unit at the Faculty of Built Environment, UTM. He is registered with the Architects Registration Board, ARB, United Kingdom, and had previously been in the practice and consultancy both in the United Kingdom and Malaysia. Previously, he served as the head of the architectural program at UTM in 2009 to 2011 and is currently a LAM panel member for validation and accreditation visits to architectural schools, both locally and overseas. He is also our former Deputy Director of Institute Sultan Iskandar at UTM. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you, Associate Professor Dr. Khairul Anwar bin Muhammad Khaizir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Norisma, for the introduction.
Yep.
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. I am Khairul Anwar Muhammad Khaizir, and I will be the moderator for our talk sessions for today. Again, on behalf of the organizer, Institute Sultan Iskandar, we cordially welcome our distinguished speakers to this special webinar event entitled Successful BIM Implementation in Malaysia, Challenges, Opportunities and Advice to Practitioners, Developers and Consultants. It is certainly a privilege to introduce them to you. But before we commence our proceedings with the first speaker, allow me to explain on how the session works. The speakers will be given 35 minutes each to present their topic. Throughout their presentation, you may enter your questions and comments directly in the chat box provided. A full Q&A session will take place after the third and final speaker's presentation. Please attach your questions with the name of the speaker that they are directed to. Alternatively, if you prefer to ask the questions or comments in person, use the raise your hand icon on the control panel to signal to us your intention. Once you raise your hand, your line will be unmuted so you can speak. It will be our prerogative to expedite questions either from the chat box or directly from among the audience, or both, especially if you are pressed for time and appropriate response. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let us begin our talk session by an introduction to our first speaker, and he is Technologist Muhammad Khairi Sulaiman, the head of BIM unit, Jabatan Kerja Raya Malaysia, or JKR. Technologist Muhammad Khairi Sulaiman is currently the head of the BIM unit within the Integrated Asset Planning branch of Jabatan Kerja Raya, or JKR, in Malaysia. He has a master's degree from University Technology UTM with specialization in modular coordination, design process, and building information modeling. Having worked at JKR BIM unit for 15 years, Technologist Muhammad Khairi is now a designated BIM expert at JKR. While keenly advocating and inculcating general implementation of BIM, Technologist Muhammad Khairi himself has undertaken a number of research on BIM-related topics, and in particular, overseeing development of BIM projects, delivery systems for the JKR. He had also served in working committees that were responsible for establishing standards and guidelines for BIM work processes, formulating statement of needs and terms of references, or TOR, for BIM contracts, and developing a standard for the application of JKR BIM projects throughout Malaysia. Furthermore, he has participated as guest speaker for many BIM courses organized by the JKR and served as facilitator for BIM implementation plans and strategies at the national level. Without further ado, may we now invite Technologist Muhammad Khairi Sulaiman to guide us on the interesting topic of our first talk, entitled lesson from before BIM, and the journey to BIM's engagement. Technologist Muhammad Khairi Sulaiman, the floor is yours.
Okay, sorry for that. Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. MC, for the introduction. First of all, I wish to take this opportunity to thank the organizers for inviting me to present in this webinar. The webinar theme Successful BIM Implementation in Malaysia provide endless opportunities for us to discuss and explore possibilities of implementing BIM, the challenges, opportunities, and advice to the practitioners, developer, and consultant. My topic will be lesson from before BIM and the journey to BIM engagement. Next slide. So the scope will be successful implementation in Malaysia, what's the challenges and opportunities, and how we can advise to the practitioners, developers, and consultants. So the lesson from before BIM and the journey to BIM engagement. Okay, the background is our construction now is low in productivity level in construction industry. It's a catalyst for the government to continuously strive to improve effectiveness of more competitive project implementation through innovative methods and techniques. So the use of BIM is the latest methodology to help the construction industry towards digitalization by increased productivity and improving overall asset management delivery system. So what is BIM? BIM is building information modeling. It's a process of developing and managing digital information to improve delivery system throughout the project lifecycle. So it's about the use of technology, and it's about a process of implementation of project delivery. Next. So to summary, BIM is about digital information and the use of standard protocol, well-structured information. So the information should be structured to be analyzed and used. It's come from one source and it's very dynamic. So we always refer the information from one source, and that information will be shared through all the stakeholders. It has to be digital technology, and it's about the digital information system, the creation of the information, the management of the information throughout the project lifecycle. And digital, we use the digital process where we have the process go through all the information process, the process of the supply chain, whereby there's no information loss, and all of this we call it integrated digital delivery. What is before BIM? So now we see our current process where this is analog process, is manual. We are using 2D graphic analogy representation, whereby we are using line, arch, and circle to represent the building. And we have so many documents to understand, to convey the building, and it has used less automation and very less integration between all the parties. and very difficult. I mean, very minimal collaboration. We are going through the whole process, and difficult communication, whereby there's a lot of document you have to refer to understand the building, and it's quite difficult for collaboration. If you can see, there's a lot of mistake and misunderstanding when we build the building. There's a lot of design errors. There's a lot of changes, and communication make the coordination design using conventional method very difficult. So this is the result of that, because we cannot see the building when it finished. So we just see the 2D drawing, and throughout the process there are a lot of changes, and somebody have make the changes, and the others just referring to the old statement. Okay. So we are dealing with all the documentation. Then by the end of the building, there's still a lot of documentation, and very difficult to find and very difficult to manage. At the end, all this documentation will be useless. Now we have, even though it's not totally manual, it's a manual electronic drafting. It's the same like we produce, like we manually produce the drafting before, but we use electronically. But the process is not changed. The documentation, we still use line, arc, and circle to present building. We still have 3D presentation, but that 3D presentation doesn't represent our real building. It is extra work where you have to do the 2D drawing. At the end, you have to do the 3D presentation, and the 2D and 3D presentation is not come from one source. It's only for impression, not helping for the construction. Then we have a drafting the drawing. We can produce very limited of building section to represent the building, because one section will take a very long time to produce. There's no Z value. You can only see in 2D. You don't know what's the height. Not integrated between plan, section, elevation detailing from drawing, and it is not related altogether. Information not related to object. Say like you have a wall, and that information you have to specify this. The description is as a wall. So there's no difference between a line of a wall and a door or what. It's only a line. You cannot do any analysis because it's a 2D drawing. There's no database. You cannot get a quantity of wall material like door, windows, and so on. You cannot quantify object. It's a laborious process whereby there's a lot of people you have to do to produce the working drawing. You have one person drawing the plan, another drawing the section and elevation and so on. And it is a minimized reuse and maximize rework. So there's a lot of, if there's one changes, you have to go through all the drawings and make the changes. Have to visualize and understand the building through a lot of drawing. You have to understand the drawing and to visualize how the building is constructed. It's the same old process, same like manual. It's not change our process. Then there's a drop of information. When you have information, when you draw in 2D, you cannot put all the information in the drawing. Then you give it to contractor, and then they have to get more information for that drawing. And 3D and documentation is not related. You have a 3D modeling and you have 2D documentation, and both, if you make changes to one model, is not related to the documentation. Okay, next. So this is manual electronic drafting, whereby you draw. You probably use computers for drawing, but it's lines where you have to refer to a lot of drawing to understand the building. Even that also, there's a lot of mistake, whereby the plan is not the same to the section, and the section to the elevation, because it's only representation of the object. Next. So why we have to use BIM? The first is the value proposition is faster in design development. Not to say that you can finish it faster, but through, like, if you have the model, you want to draw a section, it's very fast. Just 2-3 minutes, you can finish one section. You can produce all the documentation. Once you finish design, the documentation is about only 10 to 20% of your project. You can provide a template, whereby the template have all the information, all the specification or the material, all the submission plan and so on. So it's very fast if you want to produce the documentation. So there's already built component with the information. It is object-based representation with the information. So you have object like wall, you have the information about the wall, you have the material about the wall, the finishes about the wall, and how high is the wall, and so on, the placement, the orientation, and so on. You can do an analysis, then you can make informed decision. So when you use the BIM model, you can do a lot of analysis, provided that you construct or develop the model according to the standard. It also can mitigate the risk, cost overrun, VO and EOT. When you can do a lot of collaboration, coordination, and communication, this will mitigate the risk of misunderstanding. Say like you can visualize the building beforehand, before the building is constructed or finished, so you can improve how the building works. It will improve project delivery, and it is digital, whereby you can search, you can analyze, you can query, you can sort, and you can filter. It is one source of information, whereby you share all the information from one source. So any changes will update the source, and everybody will share all that one information. It's a lean process. It will improve communication, collaboration, and coordination. At the end, it can be used for asset information. for the facility management, operating and maintenance. Emerging, you can incorporate with the emerging technologies, so or to support new technologies. Next. So BIM will improve the collaboration method. So through BIM, you share the one information, and through that, through the technology, digital technology, enable you to collaborate and to discuss and improve the delivery system. But you have to follow, there's a process you have to follow, and to guide the user in particular, how the best to employ a collaborative method. Next. So it can enhance communication. You have a model you create before you build the building. Everybody will understand it. You can do interaction with all the stakeholders, not only the client, but the most importantly, the client to understand the proposed design and comment and give feedbacks and suggestion can be given immediately. Improve coordination. Just imagine that you have all the intricacies of system like mechanical and electrical system in one project, whereby you have to understand where the system run, and then you have to integrate between mechanical, electrical, and structure, because when there's a lot of ducting and so on, you have to punch a wall. Sometimes it goes to column, and how the structure support the services. That is to very important. Whereby when you are at site, there's no time and no it's very difficult to solve the problem when it is already at site. Okay. So the 3D information modeling is one sort of dynamic information. Minimize, reuse, do it once, use many means that you only create the object once. You don't have to draw so many times. Like you model a door, and you can use it so many times. So it's eliminate the rework. And 3D model will produce the documentation when the model is already coordinated. So you can generate the documentation from the 3D model. 3D information modeling is a database. It's well structured. Information, documentation come from the model. Material, you can quantify the material. It's a component base. It's an actual object. It's very intelligent in parametric, and you can do analysis. It acts as a mock-up model before you construct the building. It can get an accurate quantity, and it can do coordination and construction simulation. The 3D coordination before is very difficult if you just overlay the 2D drawing, because you cannot see the actual where the services is laid on. Next. So this is one of the BIM where you have you can easily understand. So very easy to understand. You can see at every angle. You can get the information. All the information is there. As you can see, there's a lot of information inside that. You don't have to ask other people. Sometimes the legend is also not up to date. You can have the 3D dimension object, intelligent parametric. You have a Z value. You have like a wall. What is the height of the wall? It's a live 3D. It's always updated. You can get the material. It's rich of information and is able to do a lot of analysis. Okay, when you model the object, there's a lot of information, not like 2D where whatever in the drawing is all the information. So in object, you have to identify what is the product, what is the ID, what is the classification. Because if you have a door, what is the type of the door? What is the ID of the door? There's a lot of classification. Is it fire door or sliding door and so on? The performance, how well does the product works? And the function and design requirement, all this information reside in the object itself. And the installation of the product and the appearance, what does the product look like? The 3D model, the model itself will show you what the product looks like. And the life cycle and sustainability, how to maintain the product is all inside that. And we can get it after we get SB drawing or SB model. Next, please. So the BIM implementation, first thing you have to get there's a series of process that you have to go. Top level support, develop BIM plan, define what success is, select a team and project, execute the plan, make adjustment and revise it and spend. So start slowly, start with a small project, get a support from the management, develop a BIM plan, what is the standard you have to use, who is doing what and so on. Define what is a success. If you have what is the goal of the project? So do you achieve or not? Select team and the project, execute the plan, make adjustment, and then repeat the whole process. Through that, you will learn the true implementation of BIM project. Next, please. So first thing is to get the value of the project. What is the objective of the BIM project in terms of the long term and short term? For the office organization setup, so you have to make sure in terms of the people, how many is the modeler, coordinator, and managers. In terms of the mindset, everybody have to be positive. You have to conduct a training and evaluate their skill and make sure they are collaborated. In terms of process, in terms of supply chain of information integrated and follow the standard and through BIM process. In terms of technology, use the state-of-art technology and make sure it is the interoperability. The policy, you get the top management support and compliance to the KPI and so on. In terms of the project implementation, you have to see the in terms of these 4 areas, people, process, and technology, and team setup. Next, please. Okay, this is what is involved in BIM implementation. Normally you see that by doing BIM, you get a 3D visualization, coordinated drawings, you get the basic quantities, and it involves software, hardware, and training, and to improve training to improve skill. But there's a lot other things that you have to consider. Say like in terms of BIM deliverable, what's the what you want to achieve, like construction simulation, code checking, thermal studies, latex analysis, structure analysis, sustainability analysis, fabrication, asset tracking, BIM or GIS, in terms of field BIM and others. So in terms of the requirement, what's the other requirements? Like you have to identify what's your standard, your guide, workflow, in terms of the change resistant, role mutation, model quality integrity, collaboration, contract, organization structure, and so on. Next. Okay, in terms of BIM project requirement, there's a document, what we call it BIM project execution plan, whereby you have to state all your process, all the about the project information, the person, list of BIM personnel, BIM deliverables, role and responsibilities, BIM work process, BIM information exchange, BIM data requirement, collaboration procedures, quality control, and technological infrastructure needs and model structure. So all these have to be discussed and provided to make sure that BIM implementation will be successful. Okay, in terms of definition of information requirement and the resulting of information model, prior engaging external parties. The appointing parties is the client. The consultant. The consultant have to understand the level of information needed for each information deliverable. So you have to work within the what's the information needed, the value of it, and the likely cost and time to create it. That you have to consider also, and when information to be developed, who and how information will be managed, when it is to be delivered, by whom and in what format. Okay, for the consultant, it is better to create the component before you get the project. You already develop all your libraries, all the information, the specification, the data structure, and so on before you start the project. And then make sure all the modelers, coordinators, and managers know what their role and responsibilities. BIM project requirement, information quality. This is what's the information quality are. It is digital, is easy to search, is accessibility, easy to get, and accurate, and very useful, timely and ready to use. So when you need the information, is there. This is well structured. It has a category and classification and taxonomy, and is follow the standard and consistent. Next. And the project requirement for the model quality is the correct representation in a 3D according to LOD, physical form, accurate geometry. It has get a proper naming convention, contain information with proper legend according to level of information. Assign material, accurate placement, orientation, and space distance between components. It is parametric. Functionality inside, is it the object like the wall, is it inside, outside, or in terms of the which room is the object is related. Correct color classification system can be documented from the model, can be quantified, can be analyzed, and is consistent and standardized. Okay, next. So BIM implementation success factor, it has the people have to be competent, and then it's a systematic, comprehensive, and continuous training, and it's develop a good work culture. But right now we still don't have that culture whereby everybody knows what to do if we want to implement BIM. We have to have a reference manual and guideline and standard to refer to. And in the infrastructure, we have to have a good ICT infrastructure, software and hardware that is appropriate and sufficient. Next. Okay, the challenges. There's a lot of challenges because it's a new methodology, new technologies in terms of skill and so on. Unable to model according to standard and quality, even though you have already learned how to use the software, but you have to have a standard and can abide to the standard in terms of special form information. There's no libraries, everything have to model, no details, and you have to calculate the quantity. I mean, you have to model everything, but model it according to certain qualities. Normally, not organized means that there's no library, not enough information, not standardized, conflicting information, no standard. So do it once, use many is you have to create it once. You have to develop all this, but once. Later on you can use it many times. In terms of competency and knowledge, there's not enough competency, and always there's not enough time to improve themselves. Process not clear, there's no reference, no standard process, no standard, not according to standard, no standard or not according to standard, the process or the 3D. Infrastructure is not sufficient, there's not enough computers, not enough software, or software is old version. Coordination problem, there's a lot of misunderstanding, who's doing what. The model not complete, so it is difficult to coordinate. Unstructured, unmanaged information, convert from analog information to digital. When you convert from the information from the analog to digital, the problem is that the analog system, like door window, they don't have a proper categories. You have to see and analyze, and it's not enough information to improve it, to make it a proper database. So you have to begin with the end in mind, where you have to understand and know what is the objective, what is the information needed. You have a proper team to execute the BIM project. And at the end is the role, you're not sure and not clear. Role and responsibility not clear. Next. So BIM is the future. The possibilities are endless. So we will incorporate the BIM technologies to greater technologies like distributed ledger technologies such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, extended reality, including virtual and augmented reality, quantum computing, abbreviated DARQ from one such future technologies, turn of 2020, that business must integrate on priorities. Right now, just focus on where we are going to start. Don't go too much on the very advanced technology, just learn step by step. Okay, next. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention, and I hope the webinar will be a great success. With that, I thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Technologist Muhammad Khairi. And wonderful of you to actually stop well before the end. Right, and also thank you very much for helping us to elicit a snapshot of BIM development in Malaysia. What I gather from the presentation is a very insightful view of the rationale behind the urgency to adopt BIM in the construction industry and the need to migrate from traditional approaches to the production of smarter initiatives that could be found in BIM processes, as you have just mentioned and presented just now. Thank you very much for that. And also, it was also interesting to find the lessons that could be drawn after many years of experience in CAD production, I believe, in your years of attachment with the JKR, and also in practice. There are also interesting thoughts on the problems and challenges that comes along, what we call interestingly as the manual electronic drafting, which was the traditional way of dealing with computer-aided design, yeah? Technologist Heidi, yeah? Right, and also the fact that with BIM comes the innovation, the comprehensive initiative, and BIM come as a sort of platform and instrument for the construction and building industry to pace itself on the developments, on the advanced developments that is happening, and for the benefit of the industry altogether. So the talk has mapped out a clear BIM journey, all right, that can be seen from your presentation, and sort of like stipulates a clear direction for Malaysia with regards to the industry, the construction and building industry. And one thing I think is also interesting, the fact that with BIM, comes the value it brings in the form of implementation for the construction, building, and process, right? Other things that you have mentioned are the essence of successful BIM adoption, probably a bit more technical in terms of terminology with regards to BIM implementation, BIM project requirements, BIM project execution plan, BPEP. And you have also mentioned the definition of information requirements and models of information that is represented through BIMs, through the BIM process, right? Of late, also you have mentioned the success factors and challenges. So that fits a rather comprehensive presentation that you have made, Technologist Muhammad Khairi. So we truly appreciate that. And I could also see that there are some questions coming in, right? For those who have submitted questions for Technologist Khairi to respond, do be patient, because we will actually gather all the questions towards the end for a proper and complete Q&A session. So don't worry about it. So keep the questions coming in through the chat box, and we'll entertain it shortly. All right. Thank you again, Technologist Muhammad Khairi. So we now move on to our second speaker. Allow me to introduce to you the second speaker, and he is Technologist Muhammad Rizal Muhammad Rosli, right? Okay, we can see the picture of him, a long resume. Currently, Technologies Muhammad Rizal Muhammad Rusli is the Chief Operating Officer or CEO of Beam Asia Sdn Bhd. I think it's quite a well-known entity, known amongst the Beam practitioners, right? And he is also currently the Chief Technical Officer of Beam Ed, whose roles and responsibilities are to oversee the operational and technical aspects of the company. Altogether, Technologies Muhammad Rizal has accumulated 14 years of experience in the implementation of BIM for the construction industry, and also not forgetting for the infrastructure and oil and gas industries as well. So this is a rather comprehensive resume that we have for somebody like him. Okay. Part of the experience that he has gathered also included the role as a project leader and manager of a 25-member team, multidisciplinary team of BIM specialists, comprises of BIM managers, coordinators, and modelers from various consulting disciplines, together with civil and structural engineers, mechanical and electrical engineers, architects, quantity surveyors, construction managers, and project managers. So what we have here in Technologies Muhammad Rizal is a rather comprehensive hands-on person regarding BIM. So he probably would second to TS Muhammad Khairi in terms of providing you with the deep insight of BIM development in Malaysia. So he's among the more appropriate person to actually refer to. Furthermore, Technologies Muhammad Rizal had been instrumental in the certification of BIM Asia by BSI as a company that provides design management, project management, and model production services that fulfills BIM Stage 2 operation in accordance to ISO 19650-1/2018 and ISO 19650-2/2018. All right, and what we can gather is the fact that he is passionate about providing BIM solutions that meet customers' technical and commercial requirements, and the notion of driving value creation by adopting new technologies. That is what I like, driving value into these new technologies. That is probably one of the ingredients required in order to boost the development of BIM in Malaysia. And furthermore, Technologies Muhammad Rizal is well regarded as the BIM champion and one responsible for the national BIM initiatives. Right. To add to this, Technologies Muhammad Rizal had been a guest speaker at various local and international BIM conferences. This would include HX GN Live Las Vegas 2019, the BIM Summit Singapore in 2019, the Autodesk ASEAN BIM Deployment Workshop 2020 and 2029, and also the National BIM Day 2019 event. Through his stewardship, BIM Asia was awarded the Public Services Construction Application Award at the 4th International BIM Award Conference in 2018, and was nominated for the Innovator of the Year AEC Excellence Awards in 2018 and 2019. So you have a very a glorious resume from what we can read of Technologies Muhammad Rizal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Technologies Muhammad Rizal Muhammad Rusli with a talk entitled The Importance of Common Data Environment, or CDE, in Building Project. To you, Technologies Muhammad Rizal, the floor is yours. You may begin. Yeah.
Appreciate that the host give me access to share screen. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
All right, thank you. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all. I'm Rizal Rosli. Thank you to the beloved moderator and ISI for organizing this fruitful event. It is a pleasure to contribute that to UTM, which is my alma mater as well. And in order to share experience, I think T.S. Khairi is a well-known person in BIM world in Malaysia. Maybe I'll be focusing more on things related to private projects and the importance of how we mentioned about the common data environment to the building projects. So the presentation will be divided to three main sections. The first one will be a glimpse of who we are, BIM Asia, and what is CDE or Common Data Environment and the principles behind it. And with the segment that I'll be presenting after this, I'll be sharing as well certain case studies and elaborating certain challenges along the way while becoming the custodian for the CDE. So BIM Asia is a Malaysian company registered by 3 Malaysian, and we've been in the market since 2013, and our office is in Petaling Jaya. So our vision is to provide the best digital transformation experience with BIM that enable continuous improvements and innovation to businesses in infrastructure, building and energy industry. Don't worry, I'm not coming here to sell you any product software equivalent. We are truly a BIM consultant and advise our client and fellow participant on the value behind it. And why normally we engage with our clients, we have 6 criteria why they engage us. One, we are the BIM technology partner, because in BIM as well, for the solution, you can provide things such as the price of a kancil, but certain clients wants the value as Bentley. So we need to meet in the middle. So with this, we are coming to provide the solutions that meet the technical and commercial requirements. And we don't focus only on the design part. We provide the services throughout the asset lifecycle, from design, construction, and operations. And moreover, the tickets for us to operate ourselves abroad outside Malaysia is by having the certification. This year is being the 3rd year that we've been recertified for this certification, which is by the British Standard Institution. And what it is actually ISO for BIM. If you search ISO 19650, is actually ISO related to BIM for delivery stage as well as the asset management stage. So they are the basis, but all of this ISO is coming from the pre-approved specification or British standards that's being crafted in the UK. And as mentioned by the moderator, we are a multidisciplinary team, and we are not a team of salesperson or software manufacturer or provider. And we have a broad, wide range of personnel involved. And this is based on the type of project that we are serving in the market. And we don't believe in working alone, and agree with what T.S. Khairi mentioned earlier. Is about people, process, technology. For us, it's people, and people. The challenge, the most painful hurdle that we need to go through. So in order to mitigate this, we need to collaborate with strategic partners such as the authorities, owner operators, contractors, consultants, and even the software companies. And with what we did in our company, we are honored that we have been invited globally to share our experience and to share key items on what we did. And we've been recognized as well by Autodesk as the front leading companies that try to boost or push innovation in things that we did. And with that, we're being mentioned in the Autodesk website the last couple of years on the Pen Borneo Highway project, things that we did earlier. So the range of engagement that we have range from architect, authority, education institution, down to project manager. But our focus for our company is actually the contractors and owner operators. We believe that they are the key drivers that push front to end, and this is where we focus to position ourselves with. And in order to mitigate the output for our clients, we actually support as well the subcontractors, because the subcontractors is where the thing is in the construction, where the preparation of shop drawings, preparation of detail modeling is. And how we do with our clients, that we do a hybrid position. We don't want that they are sticking to us like a glue throughout the process. We we inform them to have a BIM champion, and then after a certain time they can do it on their own, so that it will improve the industry as a whole. So like the moderator mentioned, yeah, we've involved in infrastructure, building and energy. We've been honored to do the longest highway, be involved in the longest highway in Malaysia and the tallest building in Malaysia right now. And at the same time, right now we are doing a township actually in Riyadh, and doing a full BIM from start to the end. So the things that we identify is that the different projects comes with the different complexity and challenges. And challenges can come in, like Cik Khairi mentioned, maybe in the clarity of the project information requirement, clarity in terms of scoping, who do what, and certain client that we have, when they see in the requirement just stated BIM, they just throw away to the BIM consultant. So when we try to advise, no, it's not that actually everything that we need to do by us, we can support, but certain things that need to be done by the clients or relevant party, this is the hardest thing that we need to do. We are delivering our services as well as educating them at the same time. And they treat BIM consultant as the term like scapegoat. So when we do BIM, you don't expect anything to be wrong. So anything that normally happen in conventional, when you do BIM, no error at all. So that would be another challenge that we are facing with our project. So just a glimpse of the type of project that we're involved in locally and internationally, and some CSR project that we are involved in, and things that we are currently doing with our clients. So if things gone well after this 2021, maybe things that we have identified in our future projects can be realized and materialized. So as a BIM technology partner, people always ask us, oh, when we want to appoint BIM consultant, you will be stretching our pockets and we need to pay more for you. So we normally comes on another way around to see from the value point of view. Number one, when you are, for example, like Pembo Highway, before we come in, no one even bother to understand that a lot of uncoordinated gravity elements, such as drainage, is not coordinated on site. And this gravity item, which is on site, impact the VO and potential changes. It's not the non-gravity items. So with that particular item that we've assisted our client with the estimate done by the verified quantity surveyor, it amounts up to 150 million. So with that, it is how they manage the item throughout the project. Because like TS Khairi mentioned, a lot of this drawing is on 2D. And on 2D, if you are experienced construction managers, you can construct in 3D in your head, but people won't know what is in your head. People want to know on the table in a meeting. So that is why when we have this, then the client asks, oh, why is designed like that? We mentioned that it's in your design, it's like that. It's the culvert on top of the road. So then they realize. So then they realize if it's not constructed yet, it's okay. But if it's constructed, the reworks, the changes of location or alignment will affect the bottom line or the cash flow. And number two, we have done a project with Kuasa Land, and this is a challenging experience as well for us, because at that particular time there's no infrastructure projects being done yet in Malaysia, and that's the one is being done. And then there's a lot of key KPI being set by the director. And for this, we are happy that we can hit the 0 VO. I never heard of for infrastructure project 0 VO. This one can be verified by with Kwasaland, and it's completed 6 months ahead of program. And the cost saving, I put a caveat here. Cost saving is due to omission of items or element or scope in the contract, but as well as the reworks or the item. The 40 million is due to the estimate on the preliminaries. So the next project, the client has known the value about it. His target is not about the 3D coordination more. His target is to reduce the prelim. So by reducing the prelim, you reduce the contract value for the project. And in 2015, we've did a Kampung Telekung in Kuala Kerai, Kelantan. This is a project by Lembaga Zakat, and we've come under the supplier as well as the contractor. At this particular time, the design has been done using post and beam standard RC as well as cement and brick for this project. And when we come in, the supplier is a Kenaf supplier from Gua Musang. And by having this, there's a lot of pressure to ensure that within certain time, people on the ground who are living in a tent can have their house ASAP. It's a big fuss at that particular time when the big banjir happens. People are still living in tents. So when we come in, we do value engineering on the design as well as on the cost as well. So for this project, every item is simplified in terms of numbers. We change the structure to RHS, rectangular hollow section, with simplified connection, and the external panel is using Kenaf. So we have managed to reduce from 60,000 the building cost to 48,000 building cost, not the development cost. And this gets the money, the Lembaga Zakat money, to be used to do other building on site. And for KKR KPKT affording housing project, this one is the integration of 3D, 4D, and 5D that we did in collaboration with KKR back in 2019. So the target price would be 87 ringgit TOD type of development, so that they can hit the 230,000 price per unit. So for this one, we are working closely with the QS as well as the contractor on how best to achieve this by having a separated parking lots and remove all the non-transfer beam. So with this, we managed to hit at that time 87 ringgit per square feet. So a little bit that is more on the design and construction part, and we are being tasked at back in 2019 to see how BIM can reduce on the turnaround event for a terminal for oil and gas. For oil and gas, they don't call BIM. They've been using BIM for quite some time already. So all their terminals they have their 3Ds, they have their certain level of degree of digital twins, and they would like to see within 14 days turnaround is where they shut down the terminals and they need to clean up or change certain item within that 2 weeks. And how by using 4D and the just-in-time can help to reduce the risk of them delaying even 1 day of their shutdown of their terminal. So with this, we've done apple-to-apple study. They are using conventional and we are using BIM. So we have the projected cost saving of 1 million per event with the improvement of productivity 90% on this. And on the O&M, they have been using a platform like Fusion by Hexagon. So they have the asset data there coming from the EPCC. So with it, they are looking at how they can integrate it into how they do preventive and reactive maintenance. So with this, we project the potential cost saving of 5.6 per annum, 3% O&M efficiency improvement. So a little bit about intro there. So we're talking about a common data environment. Before common data environment, I would like to bring all the participants to the definition of BIM. Like Cik Khairi mentioned as well, if you just type in the internet explorer or in the net, there have tons of different definitions, as well as for Malaysian as well. We have the Malaysian definition set up by the National Steering BIM Committee. So because I've been talking a lot about ISO, I would like to go back on the terms or definition by ISO. So BIM is defined as a use of shared digital representation of a built asset to facilitate design, construction, and operation processes to form a reliable basis for decisions. I don't want to get all the participants to remember all this definition. It's not a desktop exercise. I just want you to remember the item that I highlighted in red. In ISO, they mentioned shared digital representation. So like TS Khairi mentioned just now, it need to be shared. So what is shared is a digital representation of an asset. Asset can be building, can be infrastructure, it can be oil and gas. And then digital representation is in form, is not only 3D model, is in a form of documentation, geometrical item, and alphanumerical item. So what is used for is to facilitate design, construction, and operation processes. Construction, design, and operation processes have own process flow. But if we are doing BIM and it's not facilitating this, and even more, it's not being used as a reliable basis for decision. So in practical words, we are not doing BIM lah. So when you want to start doing BIM, identify this key item. Just remember this as a basic principle before you do things further on BIM. So how does this relate to CDE? So I relate the CDE relate to shared because it's mentioned as well in the ISO. Okay. So what is a CDE? Based on ISO, is an agreed source of information for any given project or asset for collecting, managing, and disseminating each information container through a managed process. So if you heard about BIM and you go through in BIM, there are this diagram, what we call it as an information delivery cycle. Nama popular dia is racetrack. So the blue item is the management process. So where does the CDE is? CDE is inside. And it covers the what we call project information model, information that we are building or accumulating throughout the design till handover. And after handover, well, it's called asset information model. It comes from event or trigger that's is being done during the management of the project. So clearly mentioned, you can't eliminate the importance of CDE because it's stated in the ISO and it sits in the heart of the CDE. So Cik Khairi mentioned elaborately on how you create a proper PIM, project information model, on the requirement, on the how the rich information is inside the 3D model, and so on. But in the bigger picture, how this information, when you are using it during design and construction, how does it share to asset part? This is where the common data environment is required. So common data environment, why we need common data environment? Number one, like Encik TS Khairi mentioned, it's a single source of truth. If you are a stakeholder in this project, you are not referring, okay, I refer to the information from WhatsApp. Next, I refer in the email. Another one, I refer in one of the hard copy documents that is sent. No, it's a single source of truth, meaning that it's agreed, pre-agreed earlier before you even embark on the project. The platform is used. I believe for government project, there's an initiative with Mampu has been done in order to set up this for government project. And decision making, if you want to or the key person want to decide or make decision for any of the items, that would be the reference that they're using. And consistent approach. You are not focusing on project like project A, okay, will be the standard that you'll be using. And then if the CDE, you have CDE specific for that project. Project B, different method or altogether. So that if you want to leverage on the big data coming from this platform, it needs to be consistent. That's the importance of having standards before you are even embarking on this CDE. And information exchange, what's being agreed, what type of format, when it needs to be delivered, that is on the information exchange. So all this coordination, input, output happens within this state of areas in common data environment. So the information managed in CDE, things that need to be understandable by the parties need to follow and agree to support this. Number one, information format need to be agreed earlier. Number two, how it's being delivered. Number three, structure of the information model. Number four, means of structuring and classifying information. So how do you classify the information also is important, and the attribute. So normally layman panggil properties lah of the metadata. So this is the item that need to be agreed. So why this need to be agreed? So if you are still looking for type of CDE that you want to use, this would be the item that you are looking at before you even decide which CDE that you will be using, and does it reflect the requirement that you have. So CDE, people talk about CDE in the market as well. There's a lot of different type of CDE. It's still a CDE. It's a common data environment to support the lean asset lifecycle management. Some of it is focusing on the business point of view, on the business domain. Some of it is focusing on spatial management. This is more on the asset management part. Some of it is focusing on project delivery management, and some of it is operation management, and some of it is capital asset management. So there's this different type of CDE. We can't even, when I mention CDE, it's not that, okay, if I say CDE, it's BIM 360. That's not the case. There's a lot of different CDE, just that people don't call it as a CDE. So by having understanding of the thing that I mentioned just now about the definition of CDE, it's actually a lot of CDE out there in the market. So just an example in the AEC industry, type of CDE that is in the market, ranging from Bentley, like asset-wise and project-wise for infra. So their strength is on infra management. Building, you always heard about Autodesk BIM 360, Fulcrum, Econex, and for energy, like I mentioned earlier, Hexagon Aviva. So some example of the CDE, just a snippet of this. This is how roughly it looks like in the CDE. This is where you have all your models inside there, and not only models, it's all the documentation as well, and it's in a structured manner where if you are looking for certain items, you can have this in place. And to see on the performance of the project, how many RFI has been open or closed, you can even have browse inside the CDE as well. And another reference of CDE, the Autodesk, you probably always see this different kind of CDE, like Fulcrum. They're using the basis as of IFC. So the modes of collaboration is more on the open BIM part. You're using IFC to collaborate and do management on the data set. So key principle, I have 2 minutes left, a quick one. So principle for this, coming back to this racetrack. So the item, when you talk about CDE, there's a rigorous process that it will need to go through. It's like a cycle. So what is the cycle? So this would be the item that is involved in the CDE cycle. So it starts from work in progress. So like for consultant, you are doing it in your server in the office, or you're using certain cloud platform, and you have a rigorous checking mechanism within the organization. So once it is fit to be shared with other consultant or client, it goes to share. So this is where you share with your engineers, your architects, QS, and even relevant other parties like surveyors and so on. And after this has been vet through with the team, you have this movement or process. It goes through publish. Publish is the one that is being verified by, for normally by the client, and it's being used for certain use like tenders or building plan submission. And after that, once it's completed at certain milestone, it is under archive. So all this is important when, like T.S. Khairi mentioned earlier, all is in the information is rich, but the key question is if that information is rich and applicable or relevant at that particular time. Who has reviewed it? Who has approved it? Has this gone through with other consultant or not? You are sharing with me, other parties have seen it or not, or yet, or yes. If yes, then it will go to publish. I think by having the principle of CDE, you're having rich tons of information. You need a state or areas to manage this. And in BIM, if you are implementing it according to ISO, you can read it. It's a lot of text, sorry to say, but if you follow it, there's a reason behind why it's been mentioned like that. So people always ask about the CDE, who will be custodian, the custodian. Mentioned by ISO, there are two types. One is the client, meaning the CDE is being set up by the client, but it's mentioned as well in the ISO, it can be, client can appoint a third party to become the custodian of the common data environment. So this sums up the thing that I would like to share with all the parties. Thank you again to fellow moderator. Hope that my sharing session meets and benefit the participants as a whole. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Technologist Muhammad Rizal. Well, a wonderful talk given today, and it's sort of like providing a penetrative outlook on the ethos, nature, and characteristics of work that BIM Asia is involved in. And also, interesting enough, you in your presentation, you would have a general idea of how we actually work with in BIM in terms of a specific framework and model, one that facilitates a common data platform and environment. I think this is just something that is quite essential, meaning that it is very information driven with regards to implementing BIM in the industry, for example. And the necessity to have the right environment for that data shared and many of the aspects that you have, including work, collaborative work in terms of publication of this data, and also archiving this data in the rightful manner. All right, and this is very appropriate because certainly working with BIM stipulates that there are principles to be adhered to. And I would like to recall what you had mentioned, T.S. Muhammad Rizal, that it's people. Wow, I think this is a very good and catchy phrase, that the trust of all that is BIM is actually about people. And it's the people that drives this environment, and more so in these times that we have an continuous advancement of technology in data and information management and gathering and so on and so forth. Right. Again, you are also emphasizing on the drive for values in the development of BIM, all for the purpose of fulfilling the client's technology and commercial requirements. That's one thing I think that triggers a positive outlook, so that nobody will be left out, that the value drives a technological development, right? And when you mentioned earlier on about one of your many projects with BIM Asia, that there was an incident of generating a zero VO on one of your projects. I think this would be a very good case study for anybody amongst us to actually adopt and adapt and take cue from, right? And hopefully your presentation, all that has been discussed, would remove any doubts about BIM implementation, the feeling of inferiority with regards to the lots of technicalities that's involved in implementing BIM, right? And I think this should be on record a very good snapshot of things that are required, you know, in terms of BIM implementation. All right, thank you very much. Technologist Muhammad Rizal, and I think it's about time that we now move on to our next speaker, right? Our next and our last speaker for the day, right? She is Associate Professor, Surveyor, Dr. Khairunita Ali. Right? We have here, we have her on the screen, right? Associate Professor Surveyor Dr. Khairunita Ali. She is the head of BIM Center for Digital Innovations and Solutions, or BIM CDs, which is based in the Faculty of Built Environment and Surveying, University Technology, Malaysia. Okay. Dr. Khairunita Ali is currently also the Deputy Dean of Academic and Student Affairs with the faculty. And of course, what is of interest to us is the fact that she's also the head of Building Information Modeling Center for Digital Innovation and Solutions, or BIM CDs, in the faculty. Right. As the head of the BIM research group in UTM, she is actively involved in research and publication related to BIM, building information modeling. Her research primarily involves the implementation of BIM in Malaysian construction industry. That would include supply chain management through BIM, automated building code checking using BIM technology, enhancing cost planning and control through 5D BIM, BIM deployment plan for QS companies, and managing safety through BIM. Other research works include digital twin for infrastructural work, virtual collaboration using virtual reality for explaining designers' interactive behavior, 4.0 IR in higher education, and mobile augmented reality for teaching and learning quantity surveying courses. She was also a guest speaker at various BIM-related talks, forums, and conferences. As a member of the Royal Institution of Surveyors Malaysia, or RISM, BIM Technical Committee, Dr. Khairunita currently serves in RISM's BIM Working Group for Construction Industry Development Board, or CIDB, as well as its Standard Method of Measurement 3, New Rules of Measurement Committee. Furthermore, she was also a BIM Academia Committee member for the Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia. In addition to BIM, her other research interests cover areas of integrated project delivery, development of information management tools for construction, gamification, augmented reality and virtual reality, occupational safety and health and construction industry management, human capital development through electronic learning, and knowledge management. Without further ado, we warmly welcome Associate Professor Surveyor Dr. Khairunita to enlighten us on the topic of the third session, entitled BIM Implementation in the Construction Project, Collaboration Requirements and Challenges. Over to you, Dr. Khairunita.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen first. Can you see my slide?
Yes, Dr. Khairunita, but you need to switch on to the, yeah, okay, right.
Is it okay now?
Yes, brilliant.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Khair of ISI, respected speakers, within our BIM circle. Okay? And he's one of the more prominent BIM projects being implemented there. And he's one of the working horse of the BIM in JKR. Respected technologies Rizal Rosli, it's been a great pleasure to have known you for the past 1-2 years, and I'm glad to have shared the floor with you today. ISI Secretariat and ladies and gentlemen, thank you to ISI for inviting me to this webinar. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'm here. Well, I have to admit, our two other speakers, they have a lot of experience, real project experience. Okay, mine is not as big as theirs, but I will love to share what we have been through, with what experience that we have with one or two projects that we have undergone. Okay. So this is my topic, BIM implementation in the construction project, collaboration requirements and challenges. And this is for the two other speakers have emphasized the common data environment, which is one of the things important in collaborations. And with the surveyor Khairi has explained about the overall view of what required in BIM projects. So my emphasis in this in my presentation would be the collaborations. This is this is about a little bit about my background. I'm actually a quantity surveyor, but I'm the head of BIM Center for Digital Innovations and Solutions since 2015, and some involvement with the BIM here and there in the CIDB, the RISM, and since about 10-11 years ago. So I'm glad to be one of the persons that explore BIM in Malaysia, and there are a lot of things that we have learned throughout the process. And I think this is about time for me to share the experience that we have. Okay, the outline of my presentation. First of all, there are five categories in my outline. I hope I can cover them all today. 5 minutes for each one. How do you define a BIM project? And BIM collaboration context, risk in collaboration, and the actual facts about collaborations. And the last part is collaboration requirements and challenges, which on the last part is more or less sharing of the do's and don'ts, based on the bittersweet memories of experience that we have gone through. All right, so many years back, there are people who mentioned to us, or at least to me, okay, I'm involved in the BIM project. Okay, that was 2011, 2010. There are people who have involved in some kind of BIM project, and they explained it. I'm involved in the BIM project, but I always question them. How do you define a BIM project? Okay, so what do you call a BIM project? Is it because of the 3 models? Because you develop 3D models for the project. Okay, the models-based informations, okay, which is valuable for visualizations, which is very good. 3D models, it's easy for the clients to understand their buildings, their constructions, and then models that can be integrated well, better than working in silos, and less interoperability issues. Is it because of that you call your project a BIM project, or is it because of the clash detection ability? Okay, the clashes of the components, the elements in the project, architecture's elements versus structures, or the mechanical, electrical, plumbing versus structures, or versus architect. This is one part of the visualization aspect, which is very good in BIM. But is it because of clash detection ability that you call your project a BIM project, or is it because the process, the whole process from the very beginning to the end? Okay, this BIM standards that is one of the things that are required in a BIM project. Is it about the contract, the BIM execution plans? Is it about understanding the roles of who does what? Who plays the role most in which process? Okay, is it the whole process? Is it because the BIM modeling, LING, is the word of process, not BIM information model, which is the model itself? Which one? Okay, actually all BIM, if we define BIM, it has all of this, but the emphasis might be different. Let's revisit BIM maturity. I'm very sure lots of you have seen BIM maturity before. Okay, just a little quick revision. Level 0 is when without before BIM. There's a survey. Technologist Khairi mentioned just now before BIM, which is manual. That is level 0. There's no BIM. There's no 3D basically. So it's lines and text. Okay, it's basically the computer-aided drawings. Level 1 is where the BIM is 3D models has been introduced in the process on top of the 2D drawings. You have models, you have objects, okay, the families, and then level 2, which is total 3D models, and this is in any BIM maturity figures that you see. You will see this level 2 is where the collaboration is, where the full collaboration is. And level 3 is integrated BIM, which is interoperable data. And we put aside level 3 first because no projects in the world goes to level 3 just yet. But if you know anywhere in the world that implement BIM level 3, please let me know. I would like to learn and study about the level 3. So, okay. So what would be in terms of collaboration context, looking at the BIM maturity in collaboration context, actually the level 0, okay, which is we produce documents, we produce basically 2D drawings, we produce, in fact, our BQs, our other documents is based on the 2D drawings. And the files are shared, of course, but we share separately, okay, and it's all scattered all over the places. Okay, there is collaboration. Of course, in construction project, we have collaborations, okay? It's not the total 0 collaboration, although we don't use BIM, we use CAD drawing, but we still collaborate, but it is low collaborations, okay? In level 1, it's partial collaborations. Because in level 1, we use more, it's a phase where there are more entities in the project that can share documents, share the models, and we work on the same models. Okay, work on the same models, but we still produce drawings, of course. The ISD drawing, the construction drawings, okay, for approval, for the payment and things like that. So there are collaboration, but it's partial collaborations. In level 2, it is full collaborations, okay, where maybe there are not totally using models, okay, but this is where the collaboration, full collaboration is by definition is it, okay. And level 3 is on the clouds, it's full integration. And as I said just now, I have not known any project that reached this level 3. But if you know any project in the world that have reached level 3, please let me know. I would like to understand and study them. So, risk in collaboration, there will be risk at any level. If you look at this figure, that in any collaboration we have mission, one goal, okay, and it requires communications, cooperation between one party to another parties. We brainstorm together. Okay, you see in technologist Khairi slide just now, you see people looking at the screen and together we discuss. Yes, in a collaboration, that is what we do. Okay, and we need trust. Previous speaker also mentioned about trust. Support. These are the people who support each other, and they need skills. Okay, they need skills. In BIM, we need BIM skills. No skills, then no project. Okay, no BIM. Don't talk about BIM if nobody there knows how to use how to models or how to coordinates and things like that. And we are working together, we discuss, we connect, we plan. Okay, they are all required and important in the collaboration, but they come with risk. Okay. But and the actual facts about collaborations is, okay, the definition anywhere, definition you will see, that collaboration is working together towards one project goal. Okay, one project goal. Communication is important in collaboration, but not just about communicating with each other. Okay, like talking and discussing, brainstorming ideas, not just that, but working within the team. Okay, working within the team, doing action till the work is done. And the most difficult part in collaboration is doing it together. Okay, and there are many issues before people can understand. Many years back, when before we really understand what BIM is all about. Okay, we are very wary about having BIM collaborate, sharing, sharing models, what is the ownership and things like that. But to be honest, after I get involved in one or two projects, that's very small experience of mine. That ownership kind of thing, it doesn't raise an issue. Okay, why? Because we have certain things that clarify, okay, to all the parties that we have to work together, we have to share. Okay, and one of the platform that we could share, as mentioned by Technologies Rizal just now, is common data environment. Okay, so you can't say anything. Then you have to share, and everybody have to look at each other's work, and so that we could reach that one project goal. Okay, so it's quite coincidentally for the 2 days ago, somebody put it on the Facebook of this picture. Okay, I said, oh, let me just take it out and put it in my slide. Okay, and it's quite a rumble here. There's a civil engineer, put a civil engineer, electrical, mechanical, maybe architect is somewhere in the back. I don't know. But the computer guy is like, oh, hang on a minute, this is not how we should work. We should collaborate and communicate and not share. Okay, don't gado like this. Okay, maybe that computer part is BIM. Is it? Okay, so is BIM a total solution to a better construction process? Is it BIM? Is BIM a total solution to a better construction process? So BIM comes with a slightly different sets of process. Okay, it's the same construction project, the typical construction process, but where does BIM fit in? Okay, and it comes with a different set of process where it affects the way we usually work. Okay, how we usually work is in silos and promotes better integration, which is the collaborations, okay, within BIM environment. And it brings its own kind of challenges. Okay, new things come with new challenges. So if we say, oh, BIM is the solution of how we do in a manual way, okay, ideally it is like that. But when BIM comes, okay, BIM has its own problem and challenges as well. Okay, but not that something that we could not overcome, but it is a challenges that we have to address. Okay, so from this slide onwards, I'll be sharing the things that I'll be sharing is based on the experience and experience that we involved in one or two projects, and also with the combinations of research that we have done. Okay, in BIM Center. Okay. So collaboration requirements and challenges. A lot of people will see this kind of figure. Okay, the importance of people, process, and technology, and right to say Technologies Rizal was mentioning is people, which is right, which is true. Okay, because although we say here is process, okay, we need people to understand the process. If these people do not understand the process, it will be a damning process for us, for everybody. Okay, you need people to understand, to have knowledge how we work, how the sequence of work, the communications, and then to understand it's people, and behind the process is people. Okay, and technology. Okay, of course we have to understand what is common data environment. Thank you, the Technologies Rizal just now have explained quite clearly what is common data environment. And BIM software, okay, whether what kind of software that we need, remote collaboration, but behind this is human. Behind this is people. Okay, so the most important part in collaboration is people. Okay, but how do we get people to have all this knowledge and understanding? These people need to understand BIM. These people need to equip themselves with knowledge and skills. Okay, what are they? Okay, what are the, okay, I combined requirements and challenges along the way in my slides, yeah. So one of the things that is important is the understanding of the fundamental knowledge of BIM. Okay, the project that we got by chance, it's a mega project in Kuala Lumpur. It's not completed yet, but once completed, it's be a pride of the nation. We involved with the project by chance. Okay, why? Because one of the package inside that project, okay, he came to me and you know BIM, can you help us with BIM? I said, okay, all right. What happened was, okay, he got the project, and as he joined the project, so as once his part is about to start, he went to the meeting and the main contractor was asking, where is your BIM team? And he was like, BIM team? What is BIM? What is BIM team? So he went to check his contract. Okay, go to check his contract. Oh, there's a BIM. What is BIM? And that is where he go helter-skelter, go everywhere and try to look for who is the expert in BIM. But we are not the expert, but we help them in the process. And it is completed, and hopefully he learned from there, and then he will start his own BIM team. Okay, so that fundamental things about BIM. So what is the process in BIM? That's something you need to understand as well. And the BIM standards, BIM guidelines, and what are the BIM standards that you should refer to. Okay, what is in the contract? What is BIM execution plan? Okay, BIM execution plan, basically the strategy, the strategy for the BIM to be implemented in the project. Also, that you have to understand. If you do not know it now, then go and find out what is BIM execution plan. Right? This is the fundamental knowledge of BIM, and the technical requirements in BIM, the technology behind it. Okay, how do we work it out? How do we want to work collaboratively? So how? Okay, what are the platform that we should be on? Okay, there's a project that use very canggih one, okay, very advanced, okay, the BIM 360 or one of the things in Bentley also, they have this CDEs, their own CDEs, and there are also projects who just use intranet platform within their project site. Okay, so everybody have to be on site, because they will not allow the models to be exported physically outside the parameters of the construction sites. But all this you have to quickly adapt, quickly understand, quickly put your people in, and they are all ready to take up the project, and they are ready to get involved with everything, with the process. So challenges here is misunderstanding, okay, between the parties. Misunderstanding, simple things. They misunderstand what BIM is, what the process of BIM, okay, when to bring out the models, when to or what kind of model that can be accepted, that can be approved, for their payments or anything like that. Okay, and the most one thing they don't understand, but they refuse to understand. Okay, some of the parties, they refuse to understand. It's not that, okay, time is always the constraint, and trying to understand is like taking times to learn. Okay, so that is why they, as if they refuse to understand, but actually it takes time for them to learn new things, and they don't have time for that. So they refuse to understand. They want to stick to how they do their work. Okay, so it is a steep learning curve for everybody during the project. Because why? Because everybody is started to know about, oh, this is how we do it. Okay, that is the kind of technology that they use. Okay, so how do we fit our normal process to that? Do we have to change? Okay, so it's steep learning curve for everybody in the project. All right. So BIM execution plan. Okay, it can be part of contract, but if it is level 2 BIM project, it has to be part of contract. I used to be explaining to people, not explaining, I'm just justify to other people who claim that he involved in the BIM project I will always ask them, do you have BIM execution plan in your project? Okay, if you say no, then don't call it a BIM project, okay, because you don't have a strategic plan for the BIM implementations. Okay, but it is a process for everybody, especially in the country at that time. Okay, many years back. But now, okay, BIM execution plan. If you want to get involved with the BIM project, that you have to understand BIM execution plan. Maybe one of you will become the BIM manager who produced the BIM execution plan. Okay, this is one of the documents is very important in the BIM implementations. Okay, this is just a snippet of that BIM execution plan. It's basically okay. It's from a real project. I have covered all the things that I should not show you. Okay, so this is roles, okay, and responsibility matrix. So what do you deliver? The kind of, this is what you deliver. This is the objectives. Okay, and this part is okay. This is actually the people or the parties involved. So which party, okay, do what? Okay, this it basically it explain. Okay, it explain. Okay, what are the deliverable that you need to produce? Okay, by you, and by you. Okay, so everybody has been everybody's role is been clarified in the BIM execution plan. Okay, so if you have a BIM execution plan, have a look at it. Is it detailed enough, for everybody to refer to? Okay. All right. The other part is modeling. All right. 3D model is as a medium of communication. Why? Because in the BIM model, there are informations. Yeah. Okay. This is medium of communication among designers. Okay, among designers, for you to refer to and to discuss about, look at that models and it's not supposed to be like that. Okay, we change. Okay, and it's also from designers to modelers. When designers start to fix, this is the kind of design that we want. Okay, inform the modelers and the modelers will do it. Okay, modelers is like drafters during the 2D era. Okay, and drafters, they are not designers, yeah. So modelers, if the designers are also the modelers, which is good lah. Okay, but there are modelers who are trained to be modelers, but they are not qualified designers. So designers from the design, you have to translate it to the modelers. Okay, and the model also is for you to deliver the information to the workers on site. Okay, so it should be modeled in a way that it can be referred to, okay, for the people on the site. So there are level of developments. That's something that you need to know. LOD 100 to 500. Okay, this amount of information in the models, and during modeling, okay, this is where the modelers request for information, request for change, and information from the coordination report that you need to rectify in the models. This is the modeling exercise, okay, that need to be done. Okay, and then in terms of modeling, who do you model it for? Okay, because that will determine what to be inside the models. Okay, if it is for clashes detection, or is it for the site people? Is it to be referred for them to, you can produce the ISD drawing or the shop drawing, the construction drawing, so that they can refer to. Okay, and also is it the model should be in a state that contractor can make claim, okay, for the things that they have done. Okay, and modeling is you model what to be built. Okay, technology Khairi mentioned just now, you model everything. Okay, but to what detail? Okay, but basically you model what to be built, because later on you build what you model. Okay, it leads towards as-built model. Okay, if many projects nowadays, at the end of the completion of the project, okay, they want to have that as-built model instead of the as-built drawings. Okay, and also towards digital twin of the building. So model it right, model with the right information, and you will get a good digital twin of the building. So it can be used for facilities management, asset, and things like that. Okay, during modeling, okay, we have to share the models. Okay, so sharing platform like CDE, in the CDE, in the common data environment, we have to share. Okay, where is it centralized? What software do you use? Is it project local server or what? Okay, those are the things. Okay, modeling aspect that you have to understand. Okay, and understand the models done by other teams. Okay, modelers of IT cables must aware of other MEP service models, because the IT cable modelers, maybe they don't model the mechanical and electrical, okay, and their part comes last, so they will they will have to study the other people's model, okay, and you will get warned. They say don't touch that model, okay, don't change any part of the other model, okay, your part is just to go around that existing model, so you have to understand other people's model. Okay, and modeling MEP, okay, this is just a snapshot of the project we involved in. Okay, I just want to highlight something, share something. Okay, when we model the cables for wiring, wiring, doesn't matter whether wiring for electrical or wiring for IT. Okay, the way we model at the first part, at the first time, okay, we just model it straight like this, you know. At the junctions, there's no fittings, okay, there's no it just went straight like that, okay, and we got told off, okay, because in the part where we involve, okay, we have to model the wiring parts, okay, you cannot model it straight like that, because it is not fluid that enter the pipes, okay, or the conduits. It's not air or water, okay, but this is wirings. In the on-site, you have to draw what should be seen on site, okay. There's in modeling the cables, you have to model what they have to build, because in for wiring, okay, you need to have these components, okay, because you cannot just cucuk aja apa wiring tu kan, okay, cucuk sampai ujung, right? So they have this at every corner and junctions, they have these components that you have to draw it. As I said just now, model what you have to build, because they're going to build what you model, okay. All right, so we have to change our model, okay, we have to, there's a steep learning curve that I was telling you about. So these are the aspects of modelings that everybody need to know. Okay, to be honest, MEP modelers in the industry at the moment is quite low. Okay, so we need more people who understand MEP modeling. Okay, we have a lot of them that already have the skill for architecture and structure, but for MEP is a very niche area. Okay, if you want to explore further, and the needs is high. All right, and also from the aspect of modeling, theoretically we model then build. So okay, in the book they say modeling it at the design stage and construct it at the construction stage, but in real world, okay, model and build in parallel due to BIM implementation decided in the middle of the project or at the post contract. It happened. Okay, this kind of project, okay, we have to hand in hand, okay, we model at the same time. After we model, straight away they do it. It's not based on the stages, okay, design stage, construction stage. No, it's all in construction stage. I model, you build, I model, you build, okay. But the challenges here is, okay, for back to the people issue just now, when they don't understand the BIM process, okay, we are modeling it, but they already install it. Okay, so in the project that we involve, okay, we have just started model 2 floors. Okay, this is MEP project, yeah. Okay, we have started modeling 2 floors, but suddenly they call us, "Wait, come to the site, please, and measure what we have installed." I say, why do we have to measure what you have installed? You're not supposed to install it because we are modeling it. Okay. But we have installed it and they don't approve our claim, and we will need to come and measure it on site and make sure it is the same with your models. So these challenges require on-site measurement and then model based on the measurement. And this is it's quite troublesome at that time. So we have to get more resources to measure, because of course they cannot uninstall them. Okay, so and then reflect it on the model. And if the model is not according to what they have if they're not, if it's not been approved, and then they have to rework, they have to uninstall them and that is what is happening. That is what is happening in some of the projects. Yep.
Truly sorry to interrupt you, but you have about 5 minutes remaining. Okay. I'm sorry to remind you about this here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, there's time wasted at the modeling and remodeling. And the other one is process workflow. Who does what? Okay, who approves the BIM models and drawing for claim purposes, things like that. Okay, these are the coordination process from modeling to the federated models, clash detections, and prepare coordination report, and go back to modeling. These are the things that you need to understand. Okay, for process flow, who does what in terms of constructivity. Okay, these are the issues in the constructivities, and we did an analysis on coordination issues. Okay, based on projects, that same project that have few buildings. Okay, the coordination issues, the findings here is constructivities is one of the coordination issues. That is the highest coordination issues. Related departments is the mechanical and structure is the most issues from that department. We are not pointing fingers here, just saying that all the coordination issues, we categorize it. Okay, this issue because of the structure issues and the mechanical. So we just categorize it in that way. Okay, causes of coordination issues, inconsistencies in design order. I think one former speaker mentioned about unstructured just now. Is 73%, and non-compliance with standard requirements is 24%. So these findings because they did not update the model based on the latest information provided in the CDE, and did not share the models according to the schedule dates. So in conclusions, key to the collaboration aspect in BIM is communications. Okay, to communicate what? Okay, communicate information, delivery of the information from one unit to another, and deliver the right information. And BIM knowledge is the main requirements. Okay, to understand BIM is to start implementing BIM. So more industry players should take up BIM and start your BIM deployment. Okay, we have BIM Asia here, we can help you. Many challenges discussed above can be resolved when more projects adopt BIM, so that more construction players will get a hand in a BIM project. Okay, certain companies only got projects, so we want to have more construction players have a hand in the BIM project. And with that, we can increase the competency in everybody in the industry, and eventually we will be able to reach the maturity we hope to achieve. And it is an education process. Unfortunately, it has to take a lot of time. And graduates with BIM skills are many. Okay, up till today, from many universities, polytechnics, institutes, kemahiran. Okay, we have graduates with BIM skills, but BIM projects are scarce. Blame it to COVID-19, at least for now. Hopefully, if COVID-19 is over, we have more projects, we have more graduates that have good BIM skills to contribute to the construction industry. I think that is all from me. Thank you for listening. Apologize for taking the maximum time of this thing. Okay, back to you, Dr. Khairul Anwar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Associate Professor Dr. Khairul for a very enlightening topic that was discussed by yourself. And I'm sorry, it was just a 5-minute warning, but actually you have completed your presentation within time. So it's an irony of event, you know. But you did well within time stipulated. But I was the one who actually interrupted you.
I appreciate that.
Sorry about this. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. But I think it was an enlightening topic, though it was very comprehensive. among the things that you've highlighted is the need to understand the principles and the in adopting BIM and in understanding the processes that's involved in order for one to actually instigate situation and circumstances to facilitate collaboration. So the keyword that we have in your talk is about facilitating collaboration and the prerequisites to this in implementing BIM in the industry. In a way, towards the end, you have highlighted the critical successful factors. Yeah. And also a bit of important data that you presented towards the end, whereby you have actually identified, you have actually virtually analyzed issues pertaining to coordination. And this is something I think is very valuable for everyone to understand. And for those, for example, who are from the architectural background as architects, you would find some issues that needs to be addressed on the way for one to actually adopt successfully BIM. I think this is an outgrowth from bits of research, yeah, Dr. Khairunita, as well. Something that is not available immediately in the industry, but I think it's very healthy and it's blossoming in the academia. The research of elements pertaining BIM. This is something that of value, high value added to our talk today, and I think it is very clear that the stage that we are in. You have also mentioned the trajectory of maturity that we have, and ultimately, I think it's agreeable that we need to strive for a full collaboration that comes with full understanding of how BIM actually works in the whole spectrum of activities. I think this is a very enlightening, if not for others, but I think to myself, I would find this very, very clear indeed, right? So this is in a way to actually confirm the role of BIM as an ultimate solution for collaboration. So if for those seeking for collaboration, not to be lonely in implementing work. So this BIM is a very vital and critical tool for implementation. And I think this is a call for everyone to get on board the BIM, that leads the industry to the betterment in terms of implementation and so forth. Right. Thank you very much again, Dr. Khairunita. Right. We have now come to a special session, of course, as promised earlier, that we have arrived to the question and answer session. Right. And we have waited for all of you to actually submit your queries and to actually identify the speakers that you are actually referring to. So now can we invite all speakers to turn on their cameras. Speaker number one, technologist Muhammad Khairi. Speaker number two, technologist Muhammad Rosli. Technologist Muhammad Rizal. Yeah, and finally, speaker number three, Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Khairunita. So turn on your cameras, please, for our penultimate session, right? And we are going to pick some questions from the chat box. And for the time being, for all participants, if you have any questions, do quickly add into the chat box. We are not sure whether we have the time to entertain all questions. And for those who feel like they want to raise their hands, please do so quickly. And then we will unmute you, as mentioned before. So, okay. So I will now move on to the very first question, which is directed to technologist Muhammad Khairi. So this is the first question by Shafiqah Sobri. What is the main and critical issues in practices that have to be solved as soon as possible you like to see for the betterment of BIM usage and implementation in Malaysia, right? So she's emphasizing on the main and critical issues of practice to be solved in utmost priority. So technologist Muhammad Khairi, do you have a response for this?
Okay, thank you for the question. for me, the main important is to understand what BIM is. And then the most lacking now is to build the model, because when you don't have the model, there's right now is like if you have a construction, the model is not you cannot create it very fast, so it quite very slow. And then at the construction stage, the construction is faster than the model. So due to that, it's difficult to collaborate, and at the end, people will not refer to the model. The competency of the modeling and to organize the information is a key to this BIM implementation. Yeah.
Okay. Right, Technologies Mohairi. I hope the question has been answered by him towards Shafiqah Sobri. And we move on quickly to question number 2. Can you share some of the successful recent BIM projects in JKR, and what is the more needed development in BIM implementation in Malaysian public project that should be emphasized for the improvement in future, and what needed to be improved in current existing guidelines by CIDB and JKR? So effectively, you have about 3 questions in here, Technologies Muhammad Khairi.
Yeah.
May I just clarify on this, that it's about sharing some recent projects in JKR, and the question to you, what needs to be developed in BIM implementation in public projects? And also further on, we move within the same question, asking about existing any improvement to the existing guidelines of CIDB and JKR. So over to you, Technology Muhammad Khairi.
Can repeat the second question?
I tell you what, I'll repeat the whole question again, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, can you share some of the successful recent BIM projects in JKR, and what is the more needed development in BIM implementation in Malaysian public project that should be emphasized for improvement in future? And what needed to be improved in current existing guidelines by CIDB and JKR? So, yeah, effectively, you have about 3 set of questions within this single submission.
First thing is sharing
yes,
current project, and then the documentation, reference. Number 2 is the reference. Number 3 is what? And again, please.
Number 3 is any improvement needed for the current guidelines of CIDB and JKR.
Okay. First thing, the projects. We have 3 types of project. Where is first is in-house project, design and build, and consultant in-house. So our target for this year is to have 50% of our project done in BIM. Okay. So in RMK 12, we already identify what are the projects, but now it's still in implementation. They just started. In terms of the implementation, there's a lot of newcomers that we have to train, guide, facilitate. So actually, we are still in a transition stage, whereby not everybody is well-versed in BIM. Even for the consultant and contractors, we're still in the process. There's a lot of challenges that we have to meet. If you see the successful, it's very difficult to say which is a successful project. We have done some project, but they're still learning. they are still learning stage. There's a lot of something that they have to learn, redo, rework to follow the actual BIM implementation. That is what I can say. But this is by this way, if you ask which is best or successful BIM implementation, I think we are still in progression and still in a transition to meet that target. For the current guideline in BIM, there's a lot of things involved. So say some like we have already have a guideline standard work process. We have in terms of now we are developing BIM in VM, manual proses kerja in pembinaan. We have value management and in asset management. So we are maybe we will come up with this year. That is for JKR because JKR and CIDB they have a different target of implementer. Like we are constructing on implementation of government project, whereby the CIDB is focusing on the BIM industry in general. For the improvement of documentation, we have already revised our BIM standard and guideline to meet the current requirement, and after we already experience certain lesson learned that we already experience and face, then we already improve that documentation. So I think that will be enough for that explanation.
Okay, thank you very much, TS Muhammad Khairi. Now we move on to TS Muhammad Rizal. Yeah, I hope you're ready. The question being asked, can you share what is your suggestion on ensuring that the CDE is set up early in the project, especially in coordination between parties in the project? This is from Abdul Hafiz bin Abdul Latif.
Thank you for the question. Great question indeed. The reality in the market, first, they don't even talk about CDE. First, they say that, okay, we do BIM, we need to do model. CDE is the last thing that they will think of. So things that is needed at the early phase, if the terminology in ISO is called, there are 3 items mentioned in the ISO. One is OIR, Organizational Information Requirements. Number 2 is PIR, Project Information Requirement. And number 3 is AIR. So these things is required before within client need to talk and strategize first about this to provide what we call EIR, Exchange Information Requirement. So like PM Dr. Keronita mentioned earlier about the BIM execution plan. What does BIM execution need to address to is to address the EIR. So exchange information requirement mentioned that, okay, for this project, we are using CDE. So the first thing first is about making sure that when they are writing the requirement, the people who are writing the requirement understand what they write. And in order to have to understand what they need to write, they need to learn. And number 2, where does they learn? Do they learn from? If they learn from software provider say that, okay, to do BIM, you need to have this software. No. So this is the root of the item, which is a cancerous in our community or in our market right now. Sad to say that. So, and that's is making the market, for example, like PM Dr. Karunita mentioned that when they are dealing with the project, then suddenly, I want CDE. Okay, we implement it in the middle of project, and suddenly things has been constructed. No. Model follow things that you are constructing. So they are understanding that you talk about BIM is 3D model. So to cater about that, the thing or the mindset need to be understand by the people who set up the requirement is that clearly as simple as the first step before you even go and learn with specific parties, just open the ISO. ISO is putting all the framework. It's not a standard. It's a reference. It's a non-contractual items. So just follow the thing that is mentioned there and then put it in requirement. So when people like consultants comes in, they need to suggest that, look, we need a standardized platform for people to collaborate. So unfortunately, I've been in the market for quite some time. It's still not there. And the understanding of people, when you just mention about BIM, is model. Can you model or not? You want us to model architectural things. We mentioned, for example, right, M&E model. Look, you want to do M&E model, it needs to come from people who are trained or have diploma or even search in mechanical engineering. And they have the basic common sense when they are modeling. It's basic when you're having drafter in mechanical or M&E company. This is the thing. But in the market, when you have this term BIM modeler, you are master of none. You can model anything, but you don't even understand what you model. So that's why I mentioned people. It's you can write a thesis about people in a different manner. So for CDE, if you don't specify in the contract, it's hard for you to enforce. Or if you have the situation where like the architects say that, look, I'll be providing this as a complimentary. When the thing is complimentary, it can't be executed properly. People take things for granted. Like, this one initiated by the architects, but it doesn't mention in my contract. I need to do this. So that comes in another layer, which is in the TOR need to specify clearly the roles and responsibility. And the detail will be in the BEP. So it's quite complex. So it's a love and hate relationship where I've been stuck in the market for like more than 14 years. Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, TS Rizal. Yeah, I've got to be equitable in our question distribution. So to be fair, I would direct the next question to Associate Professor Dr. Karunita. Are you ready?
Dr. K, Dr. Khairul, sorry to interrupt, but there's one person raised hand. So
okay,
should we take the question from the audience?
Okay, I've not seen that the act of raising the hand. So can the person actually reveal himself or herself and ask the questions? So we will allow for a raised hand Q&A, yeah, for a moment, yeah.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for this very insightful lecture. T.S. Hairi has given us a good theoretical background on the BIM, and T.S. Rizal has given us a good practical insight about the implementation of BIM. So I have 3 questions for all the 3 speakers. My first question is about T.S. Khairi mentioned about information quality. I'm very interested to know how BIM can be used to improve. And again, what is the current percentage of implementation of BIM in Malaysia? And to Mr. Rizal, he talked about BIM being a digital representation, built asset to facilitate design, construction, operation. So in these stages, what about the issue of quality? How can BIM be used maybe through image matching or something to improve the final quality of the building, maybe between the 3D model and the physical structure that has been constructed to see whether it has conformed to the quality. And to Associate Professor Hirunita, my question is, why is it that in the BIM stages, why is it that we have cost from the 2D, 3D, cost, time, facilities management, and everything? Why is it that we don't have quality as among these from 3D, which is visualization, 4D, which is time, 5D, which is cost, and 6D, which is facilities management, 7D, sustainability, 8D, safety, health and safety. So why is quality? Because it's a key critical success factor. Why is it not among these categories? I'm very interested to know. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, can I answer?
Yes, yes, Irene. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're asking about the quality information? Is it?
Yes, yes, yes. Information quality. What about the quality of the structure in terms of using BIM? How do we ensure that quality using the BIM?
How we want to ensure?
Quality, yes.
Yeah, the quality is the information has to be standardized. It has to be organized and well structured. Sometimes people say that it's just the information, but say like what first thing is what information that you need for the project. You have to gather for that according to your objective of the project. But now in terms of the quality, it has to be organized, and you have to analyze in terms of the information. What is the categorization? What information that you need? Say like it has to be organized. It has to be timely. Because we are using information, digital information. So digital information is well structured, whereby you can analyze, you can query, you can filter, you can sort the information. Then you can, using that, you can analyze. Say that if you have a different input, say like 24 hours aircon, some say like 24 AC, some just say 24 A, some A/C. So the input of the information is not standardized. Then at the end, you know, it's 24 hour of aircon, but you cannot tabulate that because the computer cannot process the information. There's a lot of variable there. So through that information, and then how you model is also very important. When you model, you understand how can you quantify the object when you model it. How to get the skirting. If you are not modeling the skirting, how you want to get the skirting, or say like a certain paint or whatnot. So first thing you have to structure how many, say like how many material that you use in this project. So how come this project got 11, say like you are using 9 type of finishes, but you from the extract of computer you get 11. You got extra. Where does these 3 finishes? So this is all the information that you have to structure and analyze, because the modeler sometimes they just model. They are not keen. They are not sensitive to the quantity or structure of the information. So you have to structure the information at early stage before you start the modeling. You have to understand how many doors, windows you use, and how you categorize the door and windows. Okay, I think that's about it. Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, T.S. Muhammad Khairi. We now move on to next question from the chat box. It is a question earlier on which I mentioned that actually directed to Dr. Khairunita. How do we further encourage BIM use? Is improvement in policy in having standardized framework helps so that we achieve the adoption rate such as Singapore? Dr. Khairunita?
Okay. Oh, that question first, not the Mr. Abdurrahman question. Okay, so okay, I'll address your question first.
Yes.
Regarding the the encouragement, okay, encouragement. You mentioned Singapore. Okay, actually in Singapore they have this, top-down implementation. Okay, the government impose it to every project to use BIM. So you have no choice. Okay, but actually in Malaysia we also have that kind of implementation, top down. Okay, and it is from my understanding, maybe technologists can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but in government project nowadays they implement BIM. Okay, they ask BIM to be implemented in the project. It's just that because of the current situation, maybe it's already past COVID. Is in almost 2 years now, so it looks like BIM project is kind of slow. But I know within JKRs there are more than 30-40 projects that they are using BIM in the implementation. Okay, that is for government projects. Okay, and in terms of policy, it's already there. Okay, it's just no takers. Okay, one of the reasons that why we do not have takers is, I think this is from my observations, is because they questions the benefits of it in terms of dollar and cents, in terms of ringgit. Okay, what do I get? How does this profit me if I use BIM? Okay, I have to do extra work. I have to hire BIM consultants. I have to hire BIM Asia. I have to hire other, this and that. And then the process we have to change. We have to use more manpower, more energy, so the cost has been drained out to that channel. So what is the perks for us? Okay, it's in Singapore, if anybody of you know, but correct me if I'm wrong, in Singapore they have incentives. Okay, but in Malaysia, I don't think that is what we should talk about incentive now, especially in the kind of permanent time. But we have the policy, it's just no takers. And we have the BIM standards. I think in JKR, there are BIM standard. I'm not sure if BIM standard in JKR can be shared with other parties. Maybe it's where Theologist Khairi can answer me on that one, whether BIM standards or BIM documents in JKR can be also used by the rest of the industries, or is it very, very exclusive or very confidential to just JKR's projects? CIDB also produced the standards, and the standards mentioned by technologies result just now. It's available. It's not confidential. You can find it on the internet and read and learn about it. And we have to embrace it. Okay, the policy is already there. Project is coming up. Hopefully, after COVID, the project is going good for us, or all of us. But when the project is there and people start using it, inshallah, I think that the takers, I mean the well, the number of projects, the number of construction players who want to get involved in will be increased. It's just the situation is very bad nowadays, and people want, but we can see that people wants to learn more about BIM now. Hopefully during this difficult time, we go and learn what BIM is all about. So we are ready when the situation is better, the project is there, then everybody can get a hand of, you know, BIM project. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Henrietta. We are truly pressed for time for your information, but with all the time that we have left, can I now direct one question from the floor to T.S. Muhammad Rizal? Okay, get ready. The question is in this form. From your experience, is it possible to incorporate BS ISO 19650 information requirements into the existing contractual specification that we have in the local context? This is a very interesting question. Okay, over to you, T.S. Muhammad Rizal.
Thank you. I think related to this question, I've been asked similar question during the National BIM Day in 2019. So in actual terms, actually, ISO 19650 is just a guide or frame. What we need for Malaysia is an annex. Annex is the one that is custom enough but provide free interpretation within the context of Malaysia. So what I would love to seek within the development of BIM in Malaysia, or even the digitalization movement in Malaysia, is that we don't have to, we just be like Japan. We don't create, we innovate, and based on the pain point that we have, and we are focused on that pain point. So to answer the question, if there's any initiative on the annex, it would be great for this. And number two, on the requirements, you can use the framework there. In actual term, if you read it properly, it's like a step-by-steps actually in the ISO. And things that you need to do and the reasoning behind it. So if you want to put it directly from the ISO, it doesn't mention the protocols, it doesn't mention the standards. That's the item that need to be developed alongside the requirement. Locally, there's a need by the client mentioned that is there any PM Dr. Karinta mentioned, like can we use JKR requirement as an annex or the attachment to certain tenders or not? So I'm not in the position to answer that. That one, appreciate if T.S. Muhammad Khairi can answer that as well, because we got the same question from the client as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, right, a bit more, to I think to T.S. Muhammad Khairi, very briefly, is there any new development on BIM contractual requirements for public procurement projects that aligns to the construction 4.0 strategic plan? So we are talking about the 4.0 strategic plan in the 12 mission plan, 2021 to 2025. So over to you, T.S. Muhammad Khairi.
We already revised our contract about term of reference, need statement, for the project, incorporating the BIM for the JKR project. For the next new appointment or new contract will be using that contract.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. One general question. I think this is probably the a final question before we end up for today. Is from Professor Syed Iskandar himself. Any of you actually familiar with heritage BIM? Something that is probably very essential for the the value transformation of a built environment. So any of the speakers familiar with HBIM or heritage BIM? Can you care to explain on what the differences HBIM could offer on heritage projects? So anyone amongst you can quickly respond to this heritage BIM. Perhaps again we refer to T.S. Muhammad Rizal to start off.
Thank you. I understand about HBIM, but frankly, we do not have any experience yet doing HBIM. Right. From what I understand, HBIM is another way from the one that we do in the segment of geometrical development. So geometrical development is that you're doing a 3D based item and to generate 2D drawing. But for HBeam, the principle is coming from the item which is existing and translating into data information, either alphanumerical documentations or geometrical. That would be the borderline that I can answer for that. Thank you.
Okay.
If I can chip in a little bit. Okay, HBeam, heritage beam. There are a few things that we could look at HBeam on what it's all about. One is the object of the heritage. For example, the ukiran, that's what the TS Rizal was mentioning, that's existing components of the heritage buildings, okay, that you want to create a database of all these assets. It's like FM. It becomes like FM, BIM FM, okay, for heritage building. Okay, to enable you to manage the building, to conserve the building, because managing the heritage building and managing normal normal facilities management of a building is different. Okay, they are conservation. So the parameters of the components of the those very unique ukiran or things like that, it can be stored properly, managed properly. Okay, so that is one aspect of HBeam that maybe Kalam should go into this. I think I talked to Kalam director a long time ago, so we could start store the elements of heritage properly in 3D models. Store it with all the information required. So in future generation, it can easily be assessed, can easily be referred. That's one aspect. Another aspect is to create that model itself, because of the ukiran. I think it's very intricate. But I know someone in UIA doing heritage beam research, which is almost complete. He involved with the HBeam research and also part of his research. And then they categorize all these components of the heritage buildings. Heritage component. I call it component. I'm not sure what you call it. You know better. But those intricate design in a heritage building. Okay, so there are a few ways of looking at HBeam. Use it for the management. Use it for conservation. Use it for just to store the heritage digitally. Create digital twin of the heritage building. Lots of things. That is how I look at it.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Herenita. Would TS Muhammad Khairi would like to add this? Or?
Okay, to me, BIM is about 3D graphical information about 3D. So how we want to 3D or develop the 3D model of the heritage building. The second is the in terms of graphical, non-graphical information, alphanumeric, whereby we have to gather the information, how to classify the information, structure the information. This is the big thing that we have to do to analyze, to classification of the object that we want to build. The 3D is to how to model the object. If that building is very intricate, very difficult, sometimes very difficult to model, how would we model the very difficult building, the ukuran, sometimes very difficult to model. That is the competency of modeling it. And then in terms of the information, how we want to organize the information that we want to gather, and then categorize and probably build the database of all this, and not only the building, the element, all the objects. And the thirdly is the documentation. Documentation is how we want to document the building, accordingly electronically. So there's a three element there. But the important thing is to develop the database of the historical building, and so that we can easily manage, we can easily sort or filter also and analyze.
Okay.
Can I add a little bit, Dr. Khairul?
Briefly, yes, Dr.
Very briefly, okay. In terms of how to model it, there are efforts. There are efforts out there that they model heritage ships. Okay, very ancient looking ships and with all the intricate designs. They use scanner. Okay, a point cloud scanning. Okay, and point cloud scanning, and they got a mass of it, and then they convert it into BIM model where it should be with information in it. The thing is, in FABU we have the GIS team. I think what they have they have scanned a Formosa building. Okay, when they show me the 3D model of it, I said, and they say, oh, we have come up with the 3D models. I said, okay, but it is not BIM. Okay, this is just a 3D model because you don't have information until you give it to the BIM team, and we find out how to put in all the informations because the information is what BIM is all about. Okay, the information of the 3D model. So in terms of the database, how to structure the information. The research done in the UIA is about that. It's about how to categorize the information of heritage building. Okay, so I just to respond to Surveyor Khairi just now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khairunita. We have unfortunately come to the end of our session. I think a session that we have thoroughly enjoyed listening to all our three speakers. They have provided us with very insightful elements of BIM, the whole spectrum of BIM implementation and processes. So we truly hope that this have been fulfilling for all of you, especially ladies and gentlemen, members of the participating the floor, and there are some other questions that have yet to be answered and responded. We are truly sorry because of the time that we are there is unavailable to us left to proceed for this event. So I think this is the end of the Q&A session, and with that the end of my session as your moderator in the talk session. So I will now hand over to our MC, Mr. Nur Isma. So over to you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you to our moderator, our BIM experts, and all of our participants for successfully delivering the session. Before we end our webinar today, I would like to highlight that Institute Sultan Iskandar is a certified Autodesk training center, and we will be conducting many more courses and training on Autodesk product and webinars related to BIM. So be the first to hear about our exclusive office and events by following our social media on Facebook and Instagram, our Telegram, and our website. For your information, we have posted the attendance form in the chat box. So don't forget to fill in your attendance form and give us some feedback on today's webinar. Because once you completed the form, send it to us and we will send your certificate of attendance via email. So this concludes the webinar. Thank you very much. I hope this is the beginning of the conversation and not the end. Thank you all of you for being here, and we hope you have learned and enjoyed this presentation. So see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.